as I noted, in that 3 spot. And you look at the very bottom, Buddy Kennedy gets the start at third base.
Yeah, a little bit different of a lineup. You see no Colton Emerson, but you see Nick Martinez. Big congratulations just being added to the American League All-Star team. I thought he should be a guy who should be there in the first place, taking Ranger Suarez's position. But man, he has been brilliant all year long. 2.61 ERA. You see the sinker around 31%. But the big pitch here is the second one you see on that list. That changeup is absolutely filthy. He developed that. We're going to talk more about that, Rich, as this game goes along. It is that big weapon. He developed that pitch over in Japan, and it has been a game changer since coming back over to the U.S.
Rays defensively pretty darn good. Defensive runs saved. They're 4th in all of baseball. Outs above average. A little further back down the list, 22nd. Chandler Simpson in left, somewhat of a question mark, but Cedric Mullins has played the heck out of center field. And Taylor Walls is a underappreciated defender at short. JP's in the box, ready to go. Nick Martinez, first pitch on a hop, diving stop. Palacios on a knee. Oh, man. Wow. What did I say about outs above average?
Right on cue, Rich Waltz. All of a sudden, the Rays showing off that defense. First pitch of the game. Usually, look, when you're trying to settle in, even defensively, you're kind of sitting back, trying to get a good read. JP stings his ball. I'll tell you what, Palacios was not on his heels. Ready for that one. What a play.
So now Rosarena, and the crowd comes to their feet. Now, of course, he played in Tampa last year, but it was across the bay, minor league ballpark, Steinbrenner Field.
Yeah, very different, especially to the fact that he used to patrol this left field before he got traded over in 2024. Not to mention, too, you look at the numbers, 287, top 10 in so many different categories in the American League. And a nice homecoming for him, coming back to the Trop.
Not a lot of right-handed bats in the lineup. You got lefties against this righty. Man, he was a terrific Ray here. Rookie of the Year, All-Star, and of course one of the greatest postseasons of all time in 2020. That year he was the ALCS MVP as the Rays got to the World Series, lost to the Dodgers. He hit 10 home runs in the Division Series, in the ALCS, and the World Series. Sharp ground ball. Walls is really good there. And he flips to first. There's 2 outs.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking to some people about Randy before the game, some of the Rays staff members, and they're just talking about when he left Tampa, it was kind of weird. He came into that season, he was kind of having a down year. He's trying to hit for way more power. He lost some of that athleticism. And the Mariners took advantage. And again, he's been huge, kind of underrated in a sense, what he's done for the Seattle Mariners the last couple of years.
Now with no Julio, Canzone in the 3 spot, 15 home runs, hit his 15th in Miami. And this is, on paper, good matchups, right? Lefty bats against a righty starter. But Martinez has such a dominant changeup that really nullifies a lot of the advantage.
Yeah, it certainly does. Again, fading away like that against these lefties. Now, he does throw this pitch a ton to righties. Anytime you lean into that plus pitch and that big weapon, you get to a point where it's like, you know, I'm going to face this righties and throw this righties and lefties. And you see the numbers too. Look, the average is pretty similar, a little bit better for righties. But it's going to be more of the swing and miss with that changeup, especially to some of these lefties.
Against the changeup, all hitters, righties and lefties, hitting just $134. 1-2. And it misses outside. And Martinez, the fact that he's an all-star is just an incredible finish to his story. Pitched in the big leagues, was kind of okay. Then went to Japan for 4 years and really refined his game. The 2-2. Canzone fouls it back and out of play. Since he came back from Japan, 4.5 years, his ERA is 3.5, 38 and 31, and he's dealing this year. 3rd best ERA amongst American League starters, 7-2, 2.61. 2-2 to Canzone. And he pulls it on the ground. Palacios to his left. And a 1-2-3 first to open this 3-game series. Top 3 in this lineup are really good. And the top dog is Junior Caminero. An all-star indeed.
Finale.
St. Pete, home of the Rays. This series sponsored by KeyBank. First of a 3-game set leading into the All-Star break. An urgency for the Mariners after getting swept in Miami. And now they face a Tampa Bay Ray lineup. And Hyphen, these first 3 hitters as good as you're going to find.
Yeah. I mean, across Major League Baseball, you look at 1, 2, 3. Some of the numbers they're putting up, and we're going to see it tonight. It's a little top-heavy of a lineup. We know about offensively what they're able to do. Tough team to strike out. So Luis Castillo has definitely got his hands full, but he has been good, Rich, the last couple times out.
Yeah, you see the numbers 3-7, 4-7-9. Doesn't indicate how he threw those last 2 times. 12 innings, 3 earned runs. He beat Cleveland and then lost a tough luck loss to Toronto, and he pitched well in both those games. So if this is the Castillo Seattle's going to get tonight and throughout the second half, I mean, it's already a really good rotation. That would be really nice.
Yeah, and look, a lot going on for Luis Castillo when he did all of a sudden put together a few tough outings. There was, Bryce Miller was coming back. That rotation was getting crowded. Matter of fact, you were up in Seattle and you noticed the piggyback. I thought the piggyback for him was a huge benefit. He kind of got away from over-processing and overthinking some of these pitches. Just went back to letting it eat.
Diaz, couple big hops. JP's moved back to shortstop tonight, and he fires to first for the first out.
But I think for Luis Castillo, a couple things that stand out. When you see him 96, 97 at the top of the strike zone with that four-seam, he's going to throw that around 44% of the time. He leans heavily on the sliders as well. The changeup is just a pitch that is really diminished from that arsenal. But the sinker and four-seam, to me, when you see him at 96, 97, and the velocity's good, you see him kind of bouncing off the mound a little bit, you know he feels good about where he's at, and there's no second guessing, and he's on the attack.
Of course, in his very first year with the ball club, he was so good down the stretch and so good in the postseason. Aranda off the end of the bat, lofts it out in the left center field, and it gets between Arozarena and Raley, and Jonathan Aranda has got himself a double. That had a funny sound off the end of the bat, and Arozarena's angle not quite enough to get to it.
And again, you mentioned Randy Arozarena at the other end of this. This is that slider we talk about, just kind of hanging out there, middle of the strike zone. And for Aranda, man, the way he can shoot the ball to left center field from that left side, man, that's something that makes it such a tough out, especially facing right. You see Randy just kind of running out of.
And now, one of the best players in all of baseball is in the box. Junior Caminero was just 1 for 14 against the Yankees. The Rays split that 4-game series. However, of his last 18 hits, 12 of them have left the yard. He's hit 27 on the season. And Aranda's at second. Cedric Mullins is in the on-deck circle. Caminero is just 22 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. .45 home runs last year.
And you can see Luis Castillo being extremely careful. You got that open base. I know it's the first inning, but you got that open base. Luis Castillo is trying to settle in, but this is that bat, Rich, in this lineup that can do some serious damage. Not just something to find outfield grass. You're talking putting up a 2-spot here with 1 swing.
A cautious approach, to say the least. Walked him on 4 pitches. And now you got Cedric Mullins, who can run. And Castillo obviously looking for a ground ball. Mullins has been a somewhat of a pleasant surprise in the power department. 10 home runs, hitting just .204, but stealing bases. He of course had that breakout year in Baltimore in 2021. 30 homers, 30 stolen bases, and that's a strike.
Yeah, I mean, he started the year off hitting around 130 the first month of the season with his new home here with the Tampa Bay Rays.
First and second, just underway in St. Pete. Castillo to the plate.
He really dug himself a hole, but man, he has been much better in June and July, that is for sure, hitting around 260.
He's a guy that came out of seemingly nowhere in Baltimore. 8 years with the Orioles, out of Campbell University. Grew up in Snellville, Georgia. A swing and a miss. And Castillo gets his first strikeout. Down goes Mullins. Here comes Chandler Simpson.
Well, he's been really cautious. Richie mentioned the fact that with Caminero, and then all of a sudden he gets Cedric Mullins. He goes up top with the heater, and this pitch. If this pitch has this kind of depth to it, where you're seeing Cal reach for that ball below the strike zone, he's going to be in business. There is at times, and we saw this against Aranda, where that ball kind of spin middle of the plate. That's where he gets in trouble with that slider, but he leans on that pitch so heavily. Or if he's starting to not get if he's not getting the swing and miss with the four seam and the two, he'll go heavy slider usage. He's got to get that ball below the strike zone.
Simpson, one of the fastest men in baseball, hitting 277, 22 stolen bases. Soft ground ball, got to get the out somewhere, and it wasn't going to be at first, and Crawford has to eat it. Again, you're not going to get Simpson on that ground ball, so the only play really was at second. Caminero wasn't being held, so he had a big lead, and now the bags are loaded.
Yeah, well, keep in mind too, look, JP hasn't played shortstop for a couple weeks now, and look, Cole Young was there in plenty of time. Little bobble right there, but you mentioned the fact that Junior Caminero, you see where he's at. He's well off the base, and really no chance, especially if he's going to bobble that ball. And definitely no chance with Chandler Simpson busting down that first base line.
It's going to be an infield hit. And the innings extended now, although just 15 pitches so far for Castillo. He'll get Victor Mesa Jr. Ken Wilson and his staff frustrated, certainly in Miami. They had plenty of opportunities, but in 3 games, just 9 runs. 2 for 25 with runners in scoring position. That's something that the Rays do very well, is hit in spots like this. And Castillo misses out. Mesa, the Cuban, an average just under 200, has some power, 4 homers in 30 games. Fouls it back, and it's 1-1.
And we're going to hold foul balls left and right of us up here, Rich. You ready or what?
I am.
By the way, Aaron Goldsmith gets on me all the time because he thinks I'm not paying attention ever with some of these screamers coming up here from home plate, some of these foul balls. So I'm going to rely heavily on you to be paying attention.
Knock it down and make a play.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Count even 1-1. 2 down. And a foul tip. Cal holds it, and now Castillo out in front 1-2.
Well, big out right here. Look how Rowley went out to the mound just to give Luis Castillo a bit of a breather. He was making some pitches after walking Caminero. He's got a 1-2 count.
He got his strikeout with a tight slider. And the count now 2-2. In the air, and it looks playable. And a basket catch by Buddy Kennedy. Welcome to the show. Well, welcome back to the show, Buddy Kennedy. Makes a nice play coming down from third base. The Rays leave them loaded. We've played one, and we're scoreless in St. Pete.
The power to do. Bank of America.
Steal scoreboard. Scoreless. Mariners and Rays. On a Friday night in the Trop, Cal Raleigh digs in. First pitch swing, fly ball right field. Mesa is back at the wall, makes the catch. Didn't get it all. For a moment you thought maybe it was enough. And of course, the Trop has a new lid after the hurricane damage. It's a little brighter in here.
Yeah, it sure is. It's the first thing I noticed, Rich.
And visiting teams, first time in, outfielders, infielders, have a little trouble finding the baseball. Naylor takes a strike.
Yeah, well, first of all, Cal Raleigh hitting that ball to right field, man. If you could just get a couple hard contact, even if it's in the gap, couple over the fence to finish off this break. Until we get to the break, excuse me, for Cal, man, just get that confidence up a little bit. But again, yeah, back to that roof. I mean, I remember playing here. Anytime the ball went up, you just kind of, you made sure you were backing up at base. And man, on the outside, nothing was routine. And you were kind of praying at times, and you see that outfielder kind of start to stutter step out there, trying to figure out where that ball's at.
Naylor takes outside. Not a lot of offense for anybody in Miami. We talked about just 9 runs in 3 games. Naylor takes in, and it's 2-2. Martinez had a decent changeup when he went to Japan. That was one of his better pitches, he thought. 2-2 to Naylor, and it's inside. When he got there, he decided, and he was there for 4 years, he wanted to throw the split, which is kind of a popular pitch in Japan. Everybody throws a split. So he tried to throw the split, and he couldn't get it to work. And so what he did was he's decided to try to throw the split with a Vulcan grip, and he said it was a horrible split, but it was a great changeup. And from that point on, that's been his changeup.
Yeah, and look, we talked about it in the first inning, and it's interesting. You mentioned the fact he wanted to throw a split, and you know that's a pitch in Japan that they have absolutely mastered. They all come over from Japan to Australia. To the United States with that split. And I'm sure he went over there thinking, hey, you know what? I've got some good resources around me. But you talk about the changeup. Look, like you said, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't his out pitch. It was a pitch he didn't really throw a whole lot. It was just part of the 4-pitch mix to be a starting pitcher in the big leagues and to work his way up through the minor leagues and to get to the major leagues. But man, what a difference that pitch has made.
Raley pulls it on the ground. That's a fair ball. The throw into second. That's a double play. The Rays good defensively. Aranda and Walls with the tag on Naylor, and that's it for the Mariners in the second.
Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Reminder that this summer, Mariners are giving young ball players the opportunity of a lifetime to take the field. Their favorite major leaguers as well. T-Mobile Park, July 24th. Register now. Our flagship Mariners Diamond Camp at mariners.com/camps. Rich Waltz, Brian Rowland-Smith at the Trop. Luis Castillo turns and delivers to Taylor Walls, and there's a strike. Walls, who's really kind of emerged after 6 seasons as a Ray, as their everyday shortstop, very good defensively. If they can get a little offensive pop out of him, that's an added bonus. He was at the bottom of the order in the 7th spot. You've got Richie Palacios and Hunter Fiducia in the 9th spot. 20 pitches in that first inning for Castillo. In contrast, Martinez has thrown 20 pitches his first 2.
And able to wiggle out of it. And again, we talked about this lineup being a little top heavy for the Rays. Ton of production, we know about that. But all of a sudden you get to this bottom part, and this is where Luis Castillo has to absolutely dominate when you're talking 6, 7, 8, 9 in this lineup. Especially 2. And pay attention to this as this game goes along, but he just punches out Walls right here with the heater up, and that's that pitch Rich we were talking about in the first inning, which is going to be a big key for him. You cannot let these guys at the bottom of this lineup, because of how good the top when you flip it over is.
Yeah, it's a great point. Oftentimes, as a strike to Palacios, pitching coaches will game plan with a starter and say, don't let this guy beat you. Here, it's like, don't let the 3 guys at the top of the order beat you.
Yeah, you don't need any base runners from guys that you should be able to take care of, especially once you get to 7, 8, 9. Get these guys out. Face your Diaz, Aranda, Caminero with the least amount of traffic as possible.
The Rays get just enough offense to win games. Their run differential, despite being the best record in the American League and 4 games ahead of the Yankees, is only plus 28. And their record's 54-37. Palacios takes a strike. The contrast with the Yankees is stark. The Yankees are 4 back. They're plus 85 in run differential. And that man has just had an incredible run as the skipper of the Rays. Kevin Cash in his 12th year.
He really, I mean, 12 years. Yeah, I feel like it's going by quick. I remember when he took the manager's job, I played against him. That's just a foul tip, but he was a guy that, you know, was on the shuttle bus from AAA to the big leagues, had some time with the Red Sox. I remember facing him when he was backing up some games for the Red Sox, and then he got announced as the manager, and you didn't quite know. This was kind of that era too. You think 12 years back where it was more of that sort of unknown manager, that the collaboration with the front office, and everyone said, well, you know, how much of a say does he have? But man, hearing guys who have played underneath Kevin Cash, they all, you know, speak volumes of how good he is at managing a clubhouse and obviously in game as well.
Palacios fouls it back. I think a big component of that is his time as a player and as a coach under Terry Francona.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, it's a really good point.
Because Francona's as good as any at navigating the heavy metrics along with the old school baseball. Rayleigh out in center field, a little circuitous route to get there, and he makes the catch. And now a message from AAA.
At AAA, you already know we got cool trucks, but did you know we also have insane insurance? AAA Washington, become a member today.
Maybe I should adapt that persona when I announce a game.
I thought that was you doing that read.
For a second, I thought it was Jay Buhner.
Yeah.
Was really good at that. Here's Fiducia, the catcher. This is a terrific weekend for baseball here in this ballpark. Lou Piniella, who had coffee with Dan Wilson today, in the park tomorrow night. That's always big. There's a strike. Kate Anderson has been announced as the starting pitcher for the Futures game. That's pretty good.
He's been unbelievable every time. I swear, like, you know, Rich, you follow along with the Mariners, and you know, we see you at T-Mobile, but the amount of times I've heard the name Kate Anderson, whether it's on air or off air, a kid from AA, obviously first round pick last year, but man, what an impact he will make at some point with his Mariners team.
Hunter Fiducia, the 9th spot, the catcher knocks a single into left, and so now what you were trying to avoid is the top of the order. And oftentimes you say, hey, the teeth of the order is coming up 3, 4, 5, but it's 1 through 3 here with Diaz, Aranda, and Caminero. Diaz bounced to short back in the first. And Castillo opens with strike 1. The draft is tomorrow. Mariners have the 24th pick of the draft, and it's Evan Longoria weekend here at the Trop. Not necessarily all in that order. Diaz swings it, it's a pop. Kennedy again looking up to that new roof, makes the catch. And Castillo pitches around that 2-out single. We are still scoreless, kids.
How much you want for this, bud?
Next fireworks night for the Mariners, Friday, July 17th. Mariners kick off the second half of the season. Special 2000-themed fireworks show presented by T-Mobile and Warm 106.9. Mariners.com/fireworks for your tickets. Final 3 games of the first half. Cole Young in the box. And Martinez splits the plate, and it's 0-1. Young homered in Miami. Miles Mastrobuoni and Buddy Kennedy, the bottom third of the order for Seattle. That one is smoked right field and deep, and it's foul. Not by much.
Yeah, just a little early on that cutter from Nick Martinez. This is one thing Cole Young in the last month has been pulling everything to the pull side. A lot of balls on the ground. And easily going foul by that foul pole out there in right field.
In a lot of ballparks, that's obviously a foul ball. And you can now determine a ball like that if it's going to be a home run in any other major league ballpark. That pop-up is going to be foul. And normally it's because of distance, right? But I'm curious to know if that program, which tells you it's going to be a homer in any park, if you ran that ball in Fenway with a really short, pesky pole down the first base line, is the pesky pole short enough to keep that ball fair?
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know if they spit that out or not. Young waits, and it's inside. Cal Raleigh's ball to the wall. We're being told by our crack research staff, of which there are many here in St. Pete, that Cal Raleigh's fly ball to the wall would have been a home run in 7 different ballparks, including T-Mobile. Cracked in the air to left. That one's hit pretty well. Simpson's back and now comes back in to make the catch. So there's one out, and here comes Mastrobuoni in the 8th spot. If you're just joining us, Julio Rodriguez, probably after the All-Star break, will be back off the IL, concussion protocol.
It is a different feel playing in this ballpark. I remember pitching in here. You feel like you're kind of pitching in a batting cage.
That's hit almost in the same spot.
And I mean, there's a good crowd here tonight. It's a big weekend for them. Evan Longoria, they're retiring his number, going in the Rays Hall of Fame. A lot of people showing up, but usually, you know, this place like that, just like Miami Marlins, they struggle to get good crowds. So there's that very full sound off the bat. You feel like everything's cranked into the gap or over the fence.
They've opened up the upper deck for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
They expect a really good weekend crowd with the Longoria celebration. And this is the best team in the American League.
And more good news, too. They start throwing some renderings out of the new ballpark.
That's right. Which they're trying to build it on the other side of the bay, over near the football stadium. Buddy Kennedy in the 9th spot. Kennedy, of course, has had an at-bat with the Mariners. He's had an at-bat with a variety of teams. 3 teams last year, 2 teams this year, 2 teams in 24. A 27-year-old. And he takes down low. Millville, New Jersey. I'm sure you guys have talked about Mike Trout in his hometown, and was the only 2 guys who've gotten to the big leagues. His grandfather was Don Money, if you want to go back in the day with the Milwaukee Brewers. Don Money was an infielder. Speaking of infield, the entire infield took 3 steps towards the dugout. They all thought that was a strike 3. Kennedy 0 for 1 with the Mariners. End of the bat, weird spin, and the 3rd out at first base. Nick Martinez has been a mystery so far in a scoreless game.
Change.
Welcome to Jack in the Box.
Mariners TV is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Get fired up with the Hot Ones Munchie Meal. And by Pemco Insurance You Get. Learn more. Pemco.com. Sunshine Skyway. Mike Parker, our critically acclaimed producer, rented a jet ski today and was out and about on Tampa Bay.
Nice.
Getting some great shots. It's a 3-gamer here. Aranda, Caminero, and Mullins. As Luis Castillo gets strike 1. Wobbled a bit in the first inning, did Castillo. A double to Aranda into left center. He walked Caminero. An infield hit to Chandler Simpson. Victor Mesa popped out to end the inning. And it counts 1 ball and 1 strike. 3 hits so far for the Rays.
Yeah, he was able to get out of that jam in that first inning. Loaded bases. Buddy Kennedy made that little basket catch. Again, the 1, 2, 3 hitters already taking care of Yandy Diaz. Aranda hit that ball into the left center field. They've been pitching him away though. Notice his first couple of at bats, he's been swinging a ton. Everything's been out and away. See if they go in right here or down. Try to.
If you ask what do the Tampa Bay Rays do best, they win the margins. They get on base, 5th in baseball, 331 on base. They steal bases, 6th in stolen bases. They hit well with runners in scoring position, 16th in runs scored. And they're a really good pitching team, especially that starting rotation. The other thing they do is they win here big, 33-14 at home. This environment, they are really good here. That one foul back and out of play. They've been absent from the postseason for a couple of years, actually. Rays 77 wins last year, 80 wins in 24. But they had gone with Kevin Cash 5 consecutive times from 2019 to 2023. High chopper. Crawford gets the out.
That's a nice play. Again, we just talked about the fact that he's playing shortstop. He has slid over to third base pretty much since Colt Emerson has come up to the major leagues. Nice little play there. Nice throw too. Good release. And coming across the bag, doesn't have to make that long throw. That was going to be the big question mark, Rich. Could, you know, with J.P. Crawford and that arm strength, that longer throw deep, you know, whether it be in that hole or behind the bag at third base. He's able to skip a few balls across the infield.
5 pitches to Caminero. All 5 have been outside the strike zone decidedly. That's a big swing, and the first pitch in the zone.
That's a dangerous area to be in with Junior Caminero. You gotta be careful here if you want to double up on that pitch. Thinking you're going to get that swing and miss. That's a pitch he has handled. Anything middle up.
It's a high pop, almost hitting one of the rings above the ballpark. And it's out of play. So the roof is brand new. But the rings, or as they call them here, the O-rings, are still around. And the bottom 2, if you hit the bottom 2, those are the top 2. There's the third. And those are the bottom 2 at the bottom. If you hit those 2 in fair territory, it's a home run. Smoked and by Kennedy and into the corner. Rosarena after it. Caminero arrives at second.
Well, Rich, we said this after that first swing and miss. Okay, you've got to be careful with Junior Caminero, and I'm telling you, he showed those O-rings up in the roof. Man, he has flirted with those rings on a lot of those pitches right there. I mean, look, you'll take this all day long. He smashes this ball for a double. He's in scoring position, yes, but man, that's a dangerous pitch against Junior Caminero. You don't want to mess with him in that spot. They're able to keep that ball without any launch to it.
It's a savant, baseball savant, which has all the fun metrics. Does it have a metric for 100-mile-an-hour fastballs up that are pulled like that?
Yeah, it does. I mean, there is a feature on Savant I use all the time. The Illustrator, you can filter out. What I like to do is see what guys can do in different parts of the strike zone.
Little tapper, underhand to first goes Castillo. Mullins is out. Caminero's now at third.
He's just got such quick hands. He's got that elite bat speed. He can get to that pitch.
Now you got Simpson, and certainly a dangerous guy on a soft ground ball or a bunt with blazing speed. And Caminero with 2 outs, 90 feet away. Infield hit back in the first. And he takes the strike. When he was a minor leaguer, man, this dude stole bases. I mean, a lot of bases. He had a season of 94 and a season of 105 stolen bases in the minors.
And you got to be careful here. Runner on third. You got that speed element. Anything put in play?
Up the middle, off second base, into center field. And Chandler Simpson is driven in the first run of the game.
Well, I was going to say, anything put in play is going to be a factor here because of that plus speed, Rich, you were talking about, especially with the runner on third base. But the infield was playing pretty much straight up. It wouldn't matter anyway. Hit that ball right back up the middle. And again, you can see where Buddy Kennedy's playing. They're right through the wickets of Luis Castillo off the base. And that's the first run.
And that is Chandler Simpson's game, is putting the ball in play on the ground. He's not hit a home run out of the ballpark, any ballpark, except one in spring training. Like in college, he had it inside the park. In the minors, he hit one that bounced off a guy's glove and went out.
Yeah, that's one thing that I wanted him to work on coming into this year. We know about the speed. By the way, look for him to take off. Kind of had a little bit of a dry spell there stealing bases, but he's back. Kind of lost a bit of confidence. He got caught 4 times in a row. And all of a sudden, he kind of stayed put at first base. He wasn't getting really good reads. The man standing with him over at first base, Josh Naylor, knows all about picking up little things from the pitcher to take off.
Not a big lead right now, but he is leading. And with 2 outs, you'd expect him to be motoring. He dives back. So, I mean, in the minor leagues, you don't play 162 games. So, if you're going to steal 105 bases or 94 bases, and those were his last 2 full seasons in the minors. Big jump here, fouled back. He had the bag stolen.
Yeah. And the other part of this is too with Chandler Simpson. You mentioned the minor leagues. You see how good of a jump he got. Really, again, if he only needs an average jump to steal these bases with that plus speed, best speed in the major leagues. But he came into this year, they wanted to drive the ball a little bit more, believe it or not. He was kind of way too much of a slap hitter putting in play. They wanted to swing the bat a little bit faster.
Mesa lines it into center field. And racing around second is Simpson on his way to third. You got to be careful with this baseball here. And Simpson a turn at third. He'll hold at the corners now. Third hit of the inning. Taylor Walls is the hitter.
Again, Mesa Jr. just staying up the middle on a tough pitch down the way, a little changeup. And look, Rich, we saw this in that Marlins series. They were red hot. We know about that with the bats, but also the speed too. And a couple times where guys were scoring from first with 2 outs, and just getting that extra base, it makes such a difference.
I mean, look, it's an undervalued asset in baseball right now, and that is teams that put the ball in play. I think Miami showed that. The Rays are good at that as well. And here's Walls now at the corners. Mesa, huge jump, breaking ball, a strike. And now it's second and third with 2 outs.
And there it is again. And you're seeing Mesa Jr. just taking off at will. Got a really good jump. And no throw from Cal Raleigh, just walking into second base.
That one foul back. And again, the other thing the Rays do well, they hit well with runners in scoring position. Walls a strikeout back in the second. Kevin Cash, top step of the dugout. They've been one of the hotter teams in baseball over the last few weeks. They've won 11 of their last 15 games, the Rays. A 4-game lead in the East.
That slider's just kind of hanging out in the middle of the plate. He was able to get Taylor Walls to swing through a 4-seam fastball at 94 miles an hour.
One concern, 58 pitches with 2 outs here in the third. Walls hits that ball to left field. Rosarena under it, has it. A run on the board, the first one of the night. The Rays on top as we head to the fourth. Randy Rosarena coming up.
Nothing outshines a blue moon.
August 8th, Mariners hosting one of the biggest events of the year. One of the biggest events in Mariners history. 50 season celebration night presented by Daktronics. Witness an iconic gathering of franchise greats. Top 50 Mariner players unveiled and honored at T-Mobile Park. Get tickets at mariners.com/50. There's a strike to J.P. Crawford. Nick Martinez into his 4th inning of work. That misses outside.
Look, we've talked all about Nick Martinez coming back from Japan. You see this little rock right here is kind of stepping, stepping. And you look at that, you think, well, what's he doing? He said it was a rhythmic thing. He said he was in Japan. And he was doing a bullpen session, and they're trying to find a way just for his windup to feel like he's getting more rhythm, better timing. And so they made him do this kind of funky drill where he's stepping with his front foot like that over and over. He goes, man, this feels amazing. So he just took it with him into the game. He's been doing it ever since. He also said it kind of messes with the hitters too. He's noticed the hitters, like, their rhythm when they're trying to get into that, before their big leg kick. He watches sometimes, and it's kind of messing up their timing as well. But he gained it all over in Japan. That is for sure, and making his first All-Star team this year.
That's a challenge from the catcher.
Ball, catcher's challenging.
Oh.
Pitch for strike. Tampa has 2 challenges remaining.
By a whisker. T-Mobile on board with our ABS challenge, our first one of this ball game. So from ball 4 to 3-2. Crawford bounced out back in the first. Martinez a walk, but that was erased by a double play back in the second. And that's lined down the right field line, foul, and into the corner, and it stays 3-2. Crawford at shortstop tonight. If you're just joining us, Colt Emerson, who has struggled at the plate, certainly did in Miami, was due for a night off, and Dan Wilson felt that tonight was a good night to give the rookie shortstop the night off.
Yeah, it makes sense. A tough series in Miami.
Crawford hits that one fair, and it's going to go off the wall. Around first, and up with the ball is Mesa, and a leadoff double for the Mariners here in the 4th.
Man, good to see JP get into that one. He had that good contact. The Palacios took that hit away in the first at bat. And again, 3-2. Had a challenge, overturned one of the pitches, should have been ball 4. Stayed in the at bat. Now all of a sudden he's standing on second base with none out.
And this has been a challenge for the Mariners. It certainly was in Miami. 2 for 25 with runners in scoring position. But you've got a Rosarena, you've got Canzone, and you've got Cal Raleigh now with an opportunity to tie this game, and Rosarena takes strike. It's 0-1.
And the amount of times too, Rich, in that series in Miami that I said, hey, look, you've got to make something happen now because of who was up in that lineup. You look at the numbers, 2 for 25. Man, that is some tough sledding, not to mention what it does to that morale in that dugout as well. Dan Wilson said that before the game. You talk about playing with energy. Well, when you get some offense and some of the timely big hits, that naturally brings that energy right into that dugout. Especially as you're just a couple games away from having that break, step away for a few days, and that come back out for that second half. Trying to finish on a good note.
Martinez out in front 0-2. He'll throw that change up to righties, but that's a fastball that backs a Rosarena up. And it's 1-2.
And a guy they know very well. You talk about game planning. Randy wore a Rays uniform for a long time.
Crawford at second. 1-2. Check swing. Did he go? No. It's Ron Kolpa down at first. Tom Hanahan's at home. And Derek Thomas at second. Manny Gonzalez is at third base.
This has been the formula against Randy Rosarena. Pitching him in, trying to get the chase. If they don't get the chase, they go even harder in. That's where you see some of those hit by pitches against Randy, because he's diving out over the plate. He's gone back outside.
Liner into right field. Mesa comes in and makes the catch. Crawford a few steps towards third and then realized how well that ball had been hit, and he scampers back to second. See, look, I mean, that's a great example of runners in scoring position. Right. It's somewhat of a nebulous stat because you don't always control it as a hitter. But what you do want, and what Dan Wilson talked about, is better at bat. That was a really good at bat.
Yeah.
That was a barreled up ball to right field. You'll take that with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, for sure. And the hard thing about that is, though, is you go back to the dugout, nothing to show for it. And you know what just happened in Miami where you couldn't execute when you really needed to. So it can be frustrating. That's where the pressing can come from that. You talk about the at-bats. That's when all of a sudden that next at-bat you come through, you try and do too much or you start chasing.
Canzone now bounced out in the first. Up the middle, to his left is Walls. Diving stop has it. Fires the first. That's why he's one of the better defensive shortstops in all of baseball, and a really well-kept secret at that. That's a heck of a play.
It really is. And look how far he is. Pulled across to the second base side of second base. Look at Nick Martinez. Look at the reaction. And again, Dom Canzone, look, he's dealing with that hamstring. Not that he has plus speed, but hard for him to really bust down that line. Great play right there from Taylor Walls.
Palacios made a great play on Crawford to steal a hit in the first. And now Canzone loses a hit with Walls. 21 defensive runs saved, and that literally will add another one to his total. And here's Raleigh. A ton of time of late for Cal Raleigh with Bobby Magallanes, the assistant hitting coach, and they were at it again this afternoon in the cage, just trying to recapture that swing from last year. Check swing. Did he go? Yes. Oh, it's a big call, and it's now 0-2.
Just some kind of, whether it be mental, mechanical cues, something to lean on. And that pitch, that fastball up, Rich, has been a real problem. Big difference for Cal this year compared to last year.
He went there again. He saw a lot of that, especially last night in Miami. Pitches in and up.
Yeah.
He hit a fly ball to the very wall in right field, just missing a home run his first at bat. 1-2. Swing and a miss, and that changeup is so nasty. Leadoff double. Still 1-0. Rays.
Lineup is here. Lowe's.
Tickets on sale now for the Mariners Legends Photo Day VIP experience. Daktronics presents it. Lock in your chance to get a picture with all the legends. Ichiro, Randy Johnson, Felix Hernandez. I'll bet there's a Jamie Moyer opportunity in there. August 9th, visit mariners.com/50 to get your tickets. Ichiro making sure the batting gloves are still...
Yep.
It adds a little tack when you're carrying a youngster.
That's right. Just got done with his BP session, ready for that home run derby.
8-9-1 for the Rays. Palacios, Fiducia, and Yandy Diaz. Tampa Bay got a run in the third. A double by Junior Caminero and an RBI single by Chandler Simpson. That ball's crushed right field deep. Mastroboni to the wall, and Palacios hits it out. And it's 2-0. Not a guy you expect to go deep, just his third home run.
Man, that pitch is too much plate. And Palacios just got his ace swing off for number 3 of the year. This pitch just found way too much of the plate right here. Trying to go up and away. End up in Palacios' wheelhouse. Again, 7, 8, 9 of this lineup you have to take care of.
Chopper, Young to his left, has it, flips to first. And Hunter Fiducia is the first out for the bottom of the fourth. So a 2-0 Tampa Bay lead. And now Luis Castillo, whose pitch count sits at 62. He's back at the top of the order. This is the third time through now for Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda. You got Caminero behind that pair. The breaking ball starts the Diaz at bat. These are not three hitters that many teams would slot 1, 2, 3. But the Rays are the Rays. They're creative. Diaz has just one stolen base, but he's a .405 on base guy. Aranda hasn't stolen a base. He's the 2-hitter. He's .387 on base. Floater to left. Arozarena is there, and he makes the catch. Caminero is going to be the number 3 guy, regardless, right?
Yeah,
but Diaz and Aranda, like, they're normally like a 4 or a 5 hitter.
Right, and traditionally, look, Chandler Simpson has that elite speed too, like someone who can obviously, run at the top of the lineup. We don't see that a whole lot. This very similar to Miami Marlins too. Liam Hicks, who's DHing, was leading off, and then you had 2, 3, and 4 behind him with elite speed.
Here's Aranda. The curious thing about the Rays, though, is a guy like Simpson, if he's not leading off, normally goes to the 9 spot.
Yeah.
But they don't do that. They put him in the 5 spot, so he's like a second leadoff guy. In the middle of the lineup, not the end of the lineup. In the air to center, that's Rayleigh out there tonight. And he's under it and makes the catch. Richie Palacios, Rays second baseman, goes deep. It's 2-0.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Our Western Washington Toyota pitching matchup. Big one tomorrow. Hope you'll join us. 1 o'clock start. Logan Gilbert, Florida native. A lot of people will be here. Friends and family going for career strikeout number 1,000 and a win against the Rays. And Emerson Hancock on Sunday is slotted to go. Check swing, really sawing Naylor off, bobbled, and then flipped by Martinez. There's Emerson Hancock. One note, too, if necessary. Dan Wilson has a trick up his sleeve on Sunday in that Brian Wu has said, I'll pitch if needed. Dan Wilson said, okay, only in an emergency. But that is a possibility if, depending on how the bullpen is used in this game and tomorrow.
Yeah, and you know what, for Brian Wu, I know he's put himself out there to say, hey, I'm ready to pitch if need be. Bullpen short or whatever it may be, but it might just be good for him as well. Look, he's coming off a rough outing. It's been tough for him on the road, but you go into that break, and again, you kind of decompress and you get big picture. You think about last year where you were. He was at the All-Star game, has struggled on the road.
That's a fair ball. Long way to go. Rayleigh racing, and Martinez just gets there. Aranda got it and then spun around and realized he was too far from the base. But Martinez, the veteran, was there in time.
Yeah, and you had to hurry up too. Luke Rayleigh can get down the line, can kind of surprise some people. The Rays know him very well, former Ray. Well, it looked like he nearly went foul. You can see him kind of stopping too. Man, that play would have been much closer. You can see him thinking that ball was foul. I'll tell you what, Nick Martinez, regardless, good job getting over there at first base.
Remember, the rule is this: if the ball's on the ground, all it has to do is go over the base in fair. If it lands in foul territory after it crosses the base, it doesn't matter. So this ball just has to go over the bag, and that's a hard call for a first base umpire. Ron Kolpa made the call.
And you can see Luke Rayleigh probably a little frustrated at the moment. Look at him here. You can tell he knows, because he's a guy out of anyone on this 26-man roster who would bust out any ball put in play. You can tell he's frustrated. In fact, he stopped there for a second thinking that ball was foul.
And now Martinez, who's only 53 pitches into this start, has 2 outs in the 5th. Cole Young, a fly ball out back in the 3rd. A walk and a double, and that's it for the Mariners here tonight. Now the Rays middle infield has stolen 2 hits as well. Richie Palacios from J.P. Crawford, the first batter of the game.
Yeah, he's had some good defense behind him. He's been very appreciative. Some of the reaction.
Taylor Walls diving way over on the first base side. The shortstop for the Rays took a hit away from Canzone and quite honestly saved a run.
Yeah, it did. That's a good point. Forget about that one. Taylor Walls, who well to his left. and left to that second base bag.
Martinez has been rocking all night. Change up. Young goes down to get it. Hits it pretty well. Mesa goes back. Looks up and it's gone. How about that? I mean, that ball below the knees. One of the best change-ups in all of baseball. Hitters hitting 134 against it, and Young goes down and hits it out.
Yeah, that's huge. With all the success Nick Martinez has had with that changeup. But I'll tell you what, Cole Young has done a really good job of going down and getting those off-speed pitches, whether it be a split, staying on that pitch, or a changeup. That's something he's done really well. You know, we talked all about him, Rich, coming out of spring training. Can he handle the plus velocity? He's done that. Can he handle lefties? He's done that. But what about some of the most elite pitches in the game? And that's Nick Martinez's changeup this year, and he's able to get that and take it deep into the right field seats.
Mastrobuoni now, he flied out to left field back in the third.
Cole Young, number 11.
High chopper. Aranda gets there and gets to the bag. Mariners on the board halfway through in St. Pete's. Look at that drop. Look at the drive. That's not back leg. That's back knee. And it's 2-1 Rays.
First place, huh? Smart.
Cole Young continues a splendid season with a home run to right. Only run of the night for the Mariners. His 11th. Driven in 43. And a tight one again. Mariners have played a lot of tight games this year. Castillo with a breaking ball to a dangerous man, Junior Caminero. He's walked and he's doubled. And he's an all-star starter. He could be an MVP when this season is said and done.
I mean, 27 home runs. 280.
He crushes the Mariners. 16 for 34 in his career. 4 homers. Seems like he's been around for a long time. He had a taste of the big leagues for a couple of seasons, but he's still young. He's 22.
That's pretty amazing. He's out there with the leaders in home runs. Well, Luis Castillo, a couple times, I was just watching this at bat compared to the last couple of bats. He keeps going to that heater up and then going to that slider right there, trying to get that chase. Now, I'm curious here, Junior Caminero is able to get to that pitch.
Good breaking ball and a nice job by Raleigh to hold the tip. That's a strikeout to open up the bottom of the 5th.
And it's a big look. Not the best slider, kind of hanging out in the middle of the plate. They caught Junior Caminero out in front. Eyes lit up on that pitch. Just way out in front. I think the speed differential caught him a little bit. He's been aggressive with him. Talking about he throwing that fastball up. Pitch that Junior Caminero has absolutely crushed. Trying to get that chase with the slider.
Mullins is 0 for 2. He's backed off by a fastball there. 5 All-Stars now for the Rays, with Nick Martinez being named today. Caminero, Yandy Diaz, the position players, and 3 pitchers.
Hey, by the way, look at this too. Luis Castillo and Junior Caminero, they know each other. A little smirk back and forth after that punch out. A little bit of an age difference, but obviously buddies.
Dominican Republic. I believe the godfather of all Dominican pitchers is Juan Marichal, right? And I think that Dave Niehaus always used to love to say his nickname, the Dominican dandy. I don't have the gravelly voice or the gravitas of Dave to say it.
Well, another Dominican pitcher, Pedro Martinez. I was watching just randomly, Rich, for no reason whatsoever, watching some highlights of him a couple days ago. Popped up on my, I think, social media. There's no way he'd be grinning or smirking at hitters after any kind of play action, that is for sure.
There's a pop down the left field line. It's a long run. And remember, Rosarena's hamstring is still a little tight. There's a ball in the corner last night in Miami, and he's still kind of protecting it.
Yeah, and you could tell on that play too. I think he just kind of gave up on that ball. Had plenty of room down there in that left field bullpen, that Mariners bullpen. Looked like that was a ball he could have gotten to.
That ball is munched deep and gone. Mullins. And it's 3-1 now. Second home run in as many innings for the Rays.
Now, no smiles there from Luis Castillo after that slider. Similar pitch, the one he struck out Junior Caminero. Hanging breaking ball. Cedric Mullins, who, by the way, he got 30-plus home runs with the Baltimore Orioles not that long ago.
And he hasn't been able to replicate that really.
Yeah.
But this year, the power seems like it's back.
Yeah, I mean, he looked frustrated even after that swing. But yeah, the power starting to trickle back in a little bit. But he's been around that 15 home run mark year after year.
That's a fair ball. Raleigh gets it in front of the plate. Simpson trying to use his speed to get a base hit. It's a heads-up play by Cal, and that's the second out. Yeah, Cedric Mullins, 11 now on the season. All right, let's take a look at this. It's a good angle.
Trying to bunt. And you see Cal bouncing out behind the plate, keeping that ball fair. Making the out.
There's Mesa. One thing Castillo doesn't have that most of those Dominican starters, the great ones, you talk about Pedro or Johnny Cueto, that circle change.
He used to. That's a pitch that's kind of gone away from his repertoire a little bit.
Dominican pitchers are born with that.
Yeah.
I think Mario Soto, long ago of the Reds, was maybe the godfather of that circle change.
And obviously Pedro, speaking of him, had a big impact on Luis Castillo, kind of teaching him not so much the grip, but just kind of the mentality behind that pitch, trying to keep that arm speed. And that was such a big pitch when he first came over from the Reds to the Mariners. But it's one of these ones I've spoke to Luis Castillo about. It's one of my favorite pitches, but hasn't had the same depth to it, the same life to it, the same finish.
Well, he's done pretty well without it.
Yeah, he has, but it's one of these ones. He told me that he will, and we saw this in the first inning, he will throw a couple early if he gets that good feel for it and he's visually sees that depth and the reaction, he'll stick with it. If not, he'll lean way more heavily on that slider as a secondary pitch.
Pitches up. Edinson Volquez, another one of those Dominican pitchers who really used that circle change.
I think too, when you grow up watching Pedro Martinez and you see it, watch the highlights of it, you try and replicate it.
Mesa fouls that back. It's funny how sometimes different nations have different pitches. We talk about Japan and the splitter. That's just like the pitch over there that everybody throws. Dominican circle change. Mesa takes in. Cuban right-handed hitters always seem to have right center field power. Just in all the World Baseball Classics that I've done, they just crush the ball to right center. That ball to right field, and Mesa has left the yard.
Well, same pitch is what Cedric Mullins hit out to right field. There was a hanging slider again. That's a pitch that's been 50-50 for Luis Castillo really all year long. Just trying to getting around that ball, trying to bury it. And when you try and do too much with that pitch, your arm gets left behind. You try and speed up the body a little bit. And the ball just cement mixes in the middle of the plate. We'll see it right here. Yeah, that's a pitch that you can absolutely handle.
The Rays are not one of the best home run hitting teams in baseball as Walls swings and misses. but they've hit 3 here tonight, all solo shots. In fact, the Rays came in 27th in all of baseball in home runs, 89. So this power surge is,
especially from guys who are not Junior Caminero, Yandy Diaz.
great point. Mullins, Mesa, Palacios, those are the home run hitters, not Diaz, Aranda, or Caminero. And a swing and a miss, and Castillo finishes a long inning. 2 solo shots, 2 more runs, and the lead has stretched to 4-1.
With the chicken Caesar salad stuffer.
Mariners TV is brought to you by UW Medicine at Harborview. Backed by research and innovation, UW Medicine delivers all care at this King County-owned hospital. UW Medicine at Harborview, a higher degree of health care. No lightning and thunder. You usually get some of that when you're around. This is the lightning capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. The only lightning's been under the roof with 3 solo homers and a 4-1 lead by the Rays. This is Buddy Kennedy, who's getting a start at third base. J.P. Crawford, Randy Arozarena will follow. Colt Emerson the night off. Crawford's been playing short. Kennedy at third. And he lifts that one down the first baseline. Aranda is there and he makes the catch.
Well, the Mariners cut the lead in half with Cole Young, and you get to that point now where it's the 6th inning. Look, you're down by 3, but it feels like a lot more than that because of what you've seen against the Miami Marlins. Just the offense just laying flat in those last couple of games.
Now Crawford, and Martinez is really good here. 60 pitches, a 4-1 lead. We talked about his path, starting in the big leagues with Texas, ERA of close to 5 in 4 years. Then Japan. When he was over at Japan, he started to really tinker with pitches. He took it a step further in an offseason back in Seattle, of all places. That's a strike. He went to Driveline. And he didn't go to Driveline to get a pitch design, you know, help me with my slider, help me with my 4-seamer. He went there to get his certification so he could be a pitch designer. And he has it. He has his pitch design certificate. And he's out in front of Crawford, 1-2. Now, I've been told that you are an alum of that same
I've gone through
program.
Yeah, I've gone through some Driveline certification, and it's great because you know, I'm always fascinated, obviously, by, you know, everything to do in regards to, you know, building pitches, designing pitches, pitch metrics. I try and not go down rabbit holes during the game as much as I can, but I absolutely love it.
But just stick your head in the rabbit hole. Don't go all the way in.
But for, you know, Nick Martinez, you know, you mentioned coming back from Japan. Look, I've been there before. If you're him, comes back from Japan, having a really good career, but he gets a chance to be back in the big leagues. Confidence is through the roof. Can take a breath a little bit. He didn't want to be labeled as just a depth piece either. That was kind of his role. And coming back, he said, you know what? When I do it this time through, I'm going to be a guy. I want to be a guy. And he really was. So San Diego, Cincinnati for a lot of years. A lot of Mariner fans probably are unaware of Nick Martinez, but he's put up some good years because he's been in the National League.
That's a really good take on a changeup by Crawford, and the count goes to 3-2. That's essentially, that's my label here, a depth piece. Right? So it's not all that, it's not all that bad. So on the barrel, that one is cracked into right. Crawford's had some really good swings tonight. The double in the 4th. He was robbed of a hit in the 1st, and a loud single here with 1 out in the 6th. Now you get a Arozarena and Canzone, and if anything happens, Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, JP, look, at plenty of on base. It's about 6 walks since going back the last, you know, 5 or 6 games. But just trying to get the bat going, and again, laying off that changeup, especially in, you know, the count where it was, and getting to a 3-2 and getting something to handle. That's the biggest difference. You're going to get visit to the mound right here for Nick Martinez. Only 67 pitches in.
Kyle Snyder, the pitching coach for the Rays, is out.
Yeah, just knowing his guy, where all of a sudden you want to start getting him back to the situation where he starts making pitches again. You've got Randy up and Dom Canzone.
Third time through. Rosarena, his last time up, made an adjustment in his second at bat. Pulled a ground ball for an out in the first. Lined a pitch hard to right. And Mesa made a running catch on his way in. So Rosarena has seen him twice. Barreled it up his last time up. Ray's pen is busy. Mariners' pen is busy.
Got Solster up there. Now, part of that visit, it was a quick visit, but you get Solster a little bit of time. And look, the Rays don't mess around right here. Only 67 pitches, but they're going to take a look at some of these matchups.
Fastball in. 10 homers. Rosarena's on base percentage, a lofty 380 coming in. Slugging over 450. Infield swung around up the middle. And the outfield very deep in center with Cedric Mullins.
Yeah, if you can just hunt something up right here, either a hanging changeup or a fastball that can't beat you here in a 2-0 count.
See what he gets. Yeah, right side was open, and he goes there. Crawford's around second, on his way to third. And Rosarena, just like he did in his second at bat, driving the ball the other way.
Yeah, he's done this so well. And again, not trying to do a whole lot. I said try and hunt something middle of the plate, whether it's a fastball that you can handle only 90 miles per hour or a hanging changeup. Now, I think the difference is with Randy Rosarena, the fact that he doesn't come swinging out of his shoes right there, just takes that ball where it's at, gets a little deeper, identifies it, hits that ball to right field.
Canzone now. And again, the Mariners, runners in scoring position, and they're not going to see Nick Martinez, at least Canzone isn't, for the third time. The Rays are going to hook him, the All-Star, 70 pitches in. Back after this. Let's check out the insurance you get, brought to you by Pemco Insurance. Home run rate since late May. Yep. Dominic Canzone, who hit his 15th yesterday, is on that list. That's even better than Junior Caminero, who's 8th in Major League Baseball. Luis Garcia is having a breakout year. So is Hunter Goodman of the Rockies. And Canzone on that list, and this would be a really sweet time to add to that number.
Yeah, well, they're in business too, taking out Nick Martinez. Kevin Cash deciding to go to the bullpen, and you got Salzer with a 5.5 ERA.
First pitch in the dirt, knocked down. Rosarena holds at first base. At the very least, you want to squeeze at least a run out of this.
Yeah, and that's something they really struggled in Miami to do. Being spots like this, just the one out, runner on third base. It's Salzer, nothing. It's going to beat you. He's got that changeup.
Foul back and out of play. Canzone, his last at bat with a runner in scoring position, looked like he was going to drive that run in. And you can see out behind second base. That's Taylor Walls, the fine shortstop for the Rays. He went well to the first base side, made a dive, and got up and threw Canzone out at first. That prevented the run. It was a spectacular play. And it's a big play in this game so far. Rosarena at first. Crawford over at third. Canzone 0 for 2. A swing and a miss there.
A good changeup. Hitters have had success against that pitch. Regardless, that was pretty nasty right there, especially when you haven't seen it. So Nick Martinez changeup. Bomb falls out of this one from Salzer.
Different look for Canzone. Salzer ready. And he fights it off. You're talking about an all-star starting pitcher who has a 4-1 lead and is 70 pitches in.
Yeah.
But the Rays are the Rays. They play the matchups. They play the margins. And they've got Sulser in to face Canzone. Raleigh's on deck. 1-2. Slow bouncer, right side, out there, and that's it. The run comes across. Crawford scores. Canzone, even with the sore leg, able to get down the line, and it's 4-2. And it buys it at bat for Cal Raleigh now.
We get the one, and again, we're wondering if this is going to bite Kevin Cash, taking out Nick Martinez out of this game. With Sulser had some struggles this year, but a good plus changeup from Canzone. Able to drive in the second run, but man, these are those moments you feel like you get a little bit more would be good.
Raleigh again, that inside pitch has been tying him up, and he couldn't check his swing.
Yeah, and guys have been pitching him in a lot too, and he's been fouling balls foul, jumping out in front. And I think a big reason for that, Rich, is we talked about him get to that fastball elevated. So I think he's trying to cheat a little bit, trying to get that timing right, but cheating on anything out in front, trying to jump on it because he's not trusting the fact he's getting to that pitch.
Obviously, with the injury and the slow start, he's a long ways off from last year. Raleigh at the break last year had big numbers. 38 homers, 82 RBIs at the All-Star break last year.
Is that fastball elevated? A little behind on that pitch. It's only 93. But again, you're kind of caught in the middle because you're trying to get that timing down. You're second guessing.
Foul tip into the glove, and the inning is over. But the Mariners squeeze out a run. It's 4-2. The Ford Sports Desk, quite a night for Mariners prospect Michael Arroyo and the Rainiers offense. 3 hits, his first AAA home run. Rainiers pounded Las Vegas 18-4. So that's good news. The Ford Sports Desk, where Bazardo takes over. 8-9-1 for the Rays. Palacios homered his last time up, and he takes a strike.
And Bazardo has been really good of late, only giving up the 1 run in his last 10 appearances. Now Luis Castillo just gone 5, handing off to the bullpen. 3 more days until long break. You're probably going to empty the tank a little bit if you're Dan Wilson. Some of these higher leverage arms.
Castillo, 5 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts, 3 solo homers, including the 3rd by Richie Palacios. 0-2. Breaking ball came a long way. It's sweeper, not far enough. Four runs, 9 hits for the Rays. As I noted, 3 of those 9 are solo homers. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Mariners. Under Fiducia, the 9-hitter, the catcher's on deck. Liner to center. Raley's there, makes the catch.
Looking at the 2 starting pitches, Rich. First of all, Nick Martinez decided to take him out with just 70 pitches. But for Luis Castillo, the long ball, you mentioned that, just a couple of hanging sliders there towards the end of his line. He just couldn't quite get on top of that slider and bury that pitch. You see the results, giving up some solo shots.
Now Fiducia. So the Mariners are down here by 2 in the bottom of the 6th. The Rays bullpen is not a lights out bullpen until you get to their closer. That's a strike. Rays pen is 21st in Major League Baseball. ERA of 4.38. Clevenger, the lefty, is up.
Yeah, look at that elite starting pitching 5th in Major League Baseball. Excuse me, 3rd in Major League Baseball, 1st in the American League. But there is that weak link, and Kevin Cash decided to go deeper into that bullpen, having to cover some innings. So if the Mariners can take advantage. But you mentioned getting to that closer who's been so good all year long.
Brian Baker.
Brian Baker getting that first All-Star nod for him.
1.73 ERA, 25 saves. He's somewhat of an anonymous guy around the sport. Fiducia swings and misses. And now, hyphen, a message from Jack in the Box.
Get fired up with my new Hot Ones Munchie Meal with a Sriracha Curly Fry Burger or Buffalo Chicken Tater Melt.
Welcome to Jack in the Box.
Top of the order for the Rays, Yandy Diaz was 0 for 3. Eduardo Bazardo gets a strike as he comes in his first inning here in the 6th.
Yeah, the Rays have had these guys. You mentioned Baker just kind of, being a guy who's just breaking through, and now he's going to be on that national stage.
And went foul back to the screen
at the All-Star game. But they've had their fair share of closers who have been unknowns, and all of a sudden their careers. I mean, Pete Fairbanks, we saw him in Miami breaking out. There's Baker.
Now Fernando Rodney with the askew cap is also a Mariner. That's strike 3 called. That's nice work. Eduardo Bazardo with a terrific 6th. Josh Naylor, Luke Raley, Cole Young coming up in the 7th.
Where folks.
You can etch your name in Mariners history. The new Legacy Plaza. Buy and customize a baseball medallion or bid on a commemorative bat to be permanently displayed at T-Mobile Park. Visit mariners.com/legacy. Purchase by July 13th. Have yours installed for the official unveiling on September 3rd. This is the unveiling of Garrett Clevenger in this game. The lefty out of the pen. Second reliever to work behind the starter Nick Martinez, and he takes over with Josh Naylor, Luke Raley, and Cole Young all lined up.
If you have a high-end lefty in your bullpen, you are going to be busy in this series against the Seattle Mariners with all these lefties. He's got 3 of them. He's about to face here in Raley, Naylor, and Cole Young.
Naylor has walked and bounced out. And a nice line drive opposite field. That's a base hit. And a good start to the 7th here. Seattle got a run in the 6th on back-to-back one-out hits by J.P. Crawford, Randy Arozarena, and then a ground ball out by Canzone. And Naylor.
Good job staying on this pitch. This is a slider down and away. And just wait and let that ball get deep. Driving that ball into left field. I think Josh Naylor, he pulls a lot of balls. And by the way, he pulls a lot of balls there on the outer half of the plate. But I think he is a really tough out when he's able to drive that ball to left center field just like that.
Now you got Raley, and Clevenger misses out. Raley hit a ball hard down the first baseline. It was snared by Aranda. It looked like it might be foul, but it was hit hard. It was fair, and he was out. Fiducia frames that one on the outside part. 4-2, Rays on top. 3 solo homers for the Rays, a solo homer for the Mariners. Cole Young in the 5th. Mariners have a run in each of the last 2 innings. Naylor, huge jump, and on his way he goes, and that's what he does best. He's one of the slowest runners in all of baseball. That's his 18th stolen base. He was putting on his elbow guard, kind of like, hey, yeah, I'm not going to run. And down he goes. He was fiddling with something.
Yeah, look, the only way to combat this, and we're talking to the Rays broadcasters before the game, so hey, look, he's so slow. How does he steal all these bases? Well, we know that, and we've spent a lot of time talking about this as Luke Raley goes down with a swing.
He's putting on something or taking off something. Oh, it's that sliding glove.
Yeah, just taking his time and getting that extra step and just taking off. And look, it's something where it's like, well, at some point our pitcher's going to be, wise up to this. The problem is there's really no way you can combat that besides just being better at delivering the ball to home plate, because you're giving up some sort of cue or tell that he's going to pick up because he's watching video of you before the game starts. Really, the only way, Rich, to combat that is just to change your looks. You have to change your timing. But when you're trying to get the hitter out, especially with 2 strikes against Luke Raley, big out, left on left, you sometimes fall asleep with the runner at first.
Again, a big opportunity. Runner in scoring position here in the 7th. Young at the plate. Naylor at second. Clevenger. Big breaking ball for a strike. And it's 1-1. Young homered. A really fascinating home run back in the 5th. A changeup from Nick Martinez. It was well below the knees, and he almost landed on his back knee when he hit it out to right. That's a strike. It was not a strike. EQC tracer. Well, Young, I'm sure, thought about challenging that.
Well, we had in the second game of that Marlins series where last pitch of the game against Pete Fairbanks, he decided not to challenge. He thought that pitch was down the middle back in Miami. A similar situation here.
Big 1-2 coming. Swing and a miss. It's a big strikeout for the Rays.
Yeah, look, this is tough. This is a very Gabe Spire-esque 97 running into lefties. Fastball right there, especially when you've seen some huge breaking balls down the way, not to mention the pitch he struck out Luke Raley, the hitter right before you.
I think the Mariners are going to pull the trigger on a pinch hitter, and it's Robles who comes out of the dugout. You got a right-hander ready in the bullpen.
And look, the Mariners are just down by 2 runs, man. You get a base hit here, all of a sudden it's a 1-run game.
Well, the strikeout of Raley was big after Naylor stole the base because a ground ball could have advanced the runner to third. Now, I mean, Clevenger showed he's pretty good against lefties by striking out Raley and then striking out Young with Naylor at second. And the discussion here is probably, well, would you rather go after Robles? First base is open. Buddy Kennedy is the on-deck hitter.
Yeah, it's surprising. He's actually had some better numbers against righties. Pretty even splits. Again, tough look, and we saw that from Raley against Raley and Cole Young. Robles trying to come up big here. He has been swinging the bat better of late. Some better contact.
Wow. I mean, it just continues. 2 for 25 with runners in scoring position in Miami. 0 for 6 tonight. 0 for their last 18 with runners in scoring position. Robles fouls it at the plate. It's 1-1.
Yeah, if Robles can just stay up the middle, maybe shoot that right center gap, or if he throws that breaking ball in, get in front of that pitch, drive into left field.
Robles 0 for 9 on this road trip. All of those obviously in Miami, and he fouls that one off. 1-2 with 2 outs. Top 7, 4-2 Rays on top. Naylor with a base hit to open the inning, then a stolen base, but he's been at second watching a couple of strikeouts of Raley and then Young. Robles ready. Clevenger ready. Naylor's running. Huge jump there. That's hit hard. Caminero has it. Steps away from the bag and throws to first to get the out. What a crazy sequence at third base. With Naylor arriving. Caminero was off the bag. Naylor got the base. And Caminero had to go to first. but it's enough to end the inning, and it's still 4-2.
I say keep the change.
Welcome to Talk in the Box.
Mariners TV is brought to you by the Washington Lottery. Washington Lotteries helps fund the Washington Grant. Free money for college, training, or apprenticeships. Again, a runner in scoring position, and you hit a ball on the button.
Right, and see, look, this is unfortunate, right? Because we see Junior Caminero pull it towards the base to cover it because Josh Naylor's there now. Robles hits the ball down the line. Caminero would have had to make a ridiculously good diving play, but unfortunately, he's pulling himself towards the base. And man, that's a huge break for the Rays and some bad luck. And again, with all the runners in scoring position we've talked about from the Mariners unable to execute, that's some serious bad luck. Richie brought up something earlier too with Randy Arozarena driving that ball to right field and not paying off when you really needed some luck.
Jose Ferrer takes over for Bizardo, who took over for Castillo. Aranda swings and misses. And again, it's something Dan Wilson talked about. How do you get better with runners in scoring position? You have better at bats. Those were two really good at bats.
Right.
And you know, you're at the mercy sometimes of the baseball gods. Little flip out into left, and that's a hit. And Arozarena picks it up, and Aranda is aboard to lead off the bottom of the seventh.
Yeah, and the same goes too when a hitter's in a slump and all of a sudden you're like, hey, you're making hard contact, just stay with it, stay with it. It's tough because you start pressing because you don't have any answers for the things you are doing right. It's not paying off, and man, it can force some serious frustration. I know that inside that Mariners dugout right now, they're feeling it because you're doing everything you can to try and execute runners in scoring position, and you're just not getting paid off for it.
Caminero has walked, doubled, and struck out. And a dangerous, dangerous guy gets the at-bat against the lefty Ferrer. Mullins is on deck. He has a solo homer. Victor Mesa Jr. has a solo homer. Richie Palacios has one. That one's to right, and that one's deep, and it's curling, and it's gone. He's an all-star for the second time. He's one of the best players in Major League Baseball. And Caminero hits his 28th, a two-run shot, 6-2.
Oh, this is some crazy power to right field, man. I mean, watching him hit, you always worry about that threat. He can get that bat head out and driving the ball off the concrete up there in left field inside Tropicana. But look at this. Just goes out and gets it. You can see he's feeling it too.
Hendu-like on his way down to first. Mullins lines it foul. You see the Rays, 4 home runs tonight. Ties their season high. They'd hit just 89 coming into the game. They were 27th in baseball in home runs. 3 solos, now a 2-run shot. Mullins rolls that out to second, and Young gets the out. The other thing about Caminero now, his last 20 hits, 13 have been homers. Now he gets to watch the iPad and see exactly how it went. You think when a guy watches his home run like that, he watches the pitch or the swing, or does he watch the little back pedal and the bat flip afterwards?
Well, some of the clips that they clip off here so they can have that instant feedback, they kind of cut it short after the ball's landed or whatever, they cut it off.
Oh, come on. Into center field, that's a base hit. And Simpson's got great speed. Big turn, a hold there. Robles now in center field.
He's probably checking to see if he can see the aftermath of that home run, but man, just these Rays relentless.
Again, this guy, when he puts it in play with his speed, he has never hit a home run in a real game over the fence. He did in spring training, and I think they stopped the game, and there was a brief ceremony. But in college, inside the park, in the minors, he hit a fly ball that bounced off an outfielder and then went out. And he obviously is a threat to run. There's Victor Mesa Jr. His father, longtime Cuban star and manager of the Cuban national team for a while, slices that one into left. Like the Guardians, like the Brewers, like the Marlins, the value of putting the ball in play is not lost on the Rays. And that's kind of their story tonight. And a pitching change for the Mariners. Back after this.
Holland, America.
That middle infield for the Rays has made some terrific plays. That was the first hitter of the game.
First pitch of the game. Crawford. About that.
A base hit stolen. Another play by their shortstop. Taylor Walls stole a hit and a RBI from Dominic Canzone back in the fourth. Nick Davila is in here. With runners at first and second. He has to be aware of these runners too, because they're two runners who can run. Simpson especially at second. Mesa's at first. Walls takes a strike.
Nick Davila, he has been good. He's coming off a nice outing in Miami with some family. 2 quick shutout innings. Trying to keep this close.
His mom had a terrific appearance on the show last night.
She sure did.
With Brad Adams.
Yeah.
Hialeah. A lot of great ball players.
That's got to be nerve-wracking, right? Where you know you're going on TV, you don't want to mess up.
She did not show any nerves.
Yeah.
A gamer.
Yeah, you got your kid who's in the spotlight. You want to say the right things about him. Yeah, good job right there, Nick Davila. 2 quick strikes on Chandler Simpson at some point. Thinks you could take off. If you don't mix up your times, we'll pay attention.
Rays have 13 hits in this game and a 6-2 lead. Walls pulls a ground ball foul. And yeah, they've hit home runs, 4 of them. They've got a couple doubles. They've sprayed singles all over the park too.
We need to bury that slider. They've been hitting some mistakes. A lot of offense, but those home runs have been the difference to Luis Castillo. Hanging sliders. Throwing this ball away. That's a little timing play. You can see Carroll dropping that mitt. And for Nick Davila too, again, he's since coming back. He got recalled. He was made his debut, got sent down, came back up, and the difference has been that slider. He's been able to get that out of the strikes, and all of a sudden the swing and miss went through the roof. He's trying to bury that pitch again right here with 2 strikes.
Huge lead after a disengagement. Comes to the plate down low, and that's I can't tell you how tough that is to execute a pitch. When you see Chandler Simpson behind you, jumping around, way off the line, all you're thinking about is, I need to bury this pitch and get that swing and miss. And then as you let go of that ball, your attention somewhere else. Whoa, that's a balk. You can't make a pickoff throw to an unoccupied base. And by unoccupied, the fielder has to be there. You can't just wheel and throw to the shortstop.
Yeah.
He's got to be at the bag.
And look, this isn't like a pickoff at first base, too. This is a play that you turn. If you've got him caught, like you see here, now there's no way you're going to get him because he was bouncing back to the bag. But even if he's caught right there, you could step off, and make him commit to a base.
Infield's in. And it's fouled back. The other thing, you go back to him trying to deliver that pitch. He has to, in his mind, also say, now, wait a minute. I've already disengaged once.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to do it twice with that guy.
100%.
That's part of the equation now. Infield still in, second and third. Walls, the 1-2. Fly ball, left field. That's deep enough to score a speedy runner in Simpson. Rosarena throws the third, and the Rays have their 7th run. And Tampa Bay executing as they do so well.
And again, speed being a factor. Look, Chandler Simpson's supposed to be at second base with Walls up. Obviously, the ball pushed him to third base. Now all of a sudden you got a 5-run deficit. It gets even tougher too with the 8th inning, then Baker in the 9th.
And the balk is significant.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's painful. Runner at second, Palacios, who's done damage, fouls a pitch off. He's lined out, has a home run. You can see why the Rays are the best team in the American League. And I know that a lot of people say, nah, they're not the best. A lot of people say the Yankees are the best team in the American League. High pop, but just because the Rays don't score as many runs as the Yankees doesn't mean they're inferior to the Yankees.
Well, you know, it's interesting too. I mean, even the Rays, crawling back up, especially late June, early July. You talk about the Yankees, all of a sudden you had Ben Rice start to struggle a little bit, Cody Bellinger, obviously Aaron Judge out of that lineup, and then all of a sudden you miss some of that putting the ball in play element, the speed element. And I think that is really the difference that keeps you afloat in these situations.
Young to first, but the Rays add on. The big blow, Junior Camaneros.
And grows from there. Open or enroll today. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America.
A lot going on with the 50 season celebration weekend. The Alumni Home Run Derby night presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. August 7th, Ichiro, other former Mariners sluggers, compete in an epic post-game competition. Get your tickets at mariners.com/derby.
That man right there, Austin Nola, he'll be competing in it. I'm going to throw him under the bus right now. Former Mariner, Austin Nola, bullpen coach. I asked him, I said, hey man, you've been getting some reps? And he said, no. I was like, dude, you've got all the advantage. You're with the team, get in the cage. He said, I'm too busy.
New Chucker,
too busy coaching.
New Chucker in there and Kevin Kelly. Buddy Kennedy in the 9 spot, J.P. Crawford and Randy Arozarena. In that promo, as they call it in TV land, roller towards third, Caminero across the diamond for the out. It said, and I quote, watch Ichiro and other former Mariners sluggers compete in an epic post-game competition.
That's right.
And you are
a former slugger. That's right.
Former slugger. When did you become a former slugger? At like 10 or 11? When was your last days of slugging?
Well, Rich, I got to throw myself under the bus here. I just was busy throwing Austin Nola under the bus, but I'll be honest with you, it took me a long time as a kid to hit a home run. Now, we didn't have the best fields in Australia, not the best facilities. We had to put, cones out for the home run fence. I remember all the kids could clear the cones. I remember there was even games where they brought them in so all the other kids like me could have a chance to hit a home run. I could never hit one. I was like, man. I remember driving home in the car on the way home. Mom, am I ever going to hit a home run? Finally, I got my first one. And yeah, it wasn't a whole lot of home run hitting, but a couple of hits in spring training. No, 2 for 2 against Jason Marquis. I'll take that. A couple singles.
Yeah, just don't pull something.
Oh, man.
Here's Crawford now. Crawford a double and a single. If you're just joining us, this has been a tighter game than the score is right now. Crawford rolls it. Backhanded there by Walls. Fires to first in time. It was a great pitching matchup to start tonight. Nick Martinez, who was named to the All-Star team today, started for the Rays. And, of course, Luis Castillo going for the Mariners. And Martinez was nails. He didn't give up a hit until the 4th. The Rays got to Castillo for a run in the 3rd, and then a slew of home runs. 3 solo shots in the 4th and the 5th. And then a 2-run shot by Junior Caminero. That's the scoring for the Rays. The Mariners have had opportunities. Single runs in the 5th. A Cole Young homer. Canzone a ground ball out to score a run. But again, a struggle with runners in scoring position, though in a couple of big spots. The Mariners have hit balls right on the screws, right at somebody. And Rosarena was one of those. lining out in the fourth with Crawford at second. And then Robles to end the seventh on that hard shot down the third base line. And with Naylor running to third, that brought Caminero to third, and that kept the ball from getting down the corner, or at least forcing Caminero to dive for it. A swing and a miss there, and Rosarena strikes out. This bullpen looks pretty good for the Rays tonight. Still 7-2. Our Overlake Medical Center scoreboard.
Glue.
Feel a draft coming. That's tomorrow. Changing the baseball draft. The Mariners have been so good in the draft, especially of late. Just look at the starting rotation. 5 of the 6 they have drafted and developed. And they have the 24th overall pick in the first round. Cole Wilcox is the 4th out of the bullpen in support of Luis Castillo. And Wilcox misses high. Hunter Fiducia, Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda. Raised 7 runs on 13 hits. Fiducia had a single back in the second. You talked about the bottom third of the Rays order and the way it's set up. And with Castillo in particular, those are the guys you got to get through and get out because of how stacked the top of the order is, 1 through 3. Even 4 with Mullins, who's homer. Rosarena in the corner makes the catch. And that bottom of the order has produced. Walls had a sacrifice fly. Palacios had a solo home run, and Fiducia had a hit as well.
Yeah, I mean, you pick your spots in the lineup, right? So obviously 1, 2, 3, make your pitches. Junior Caminero, don't let him beat you. But as that moves along, and again going back to even the beginning of the game, you look at that and say, okay, now this is a situation where I have a pocket of hitters that I can be more in the plate, can't walk them, be on the attack. But I tell you what, Palacios hit that home run. You mentioned the sac fly, man. I mean, they've been good up and down this Rays lineup. It's been relentless.
Diaz swings and misses, and Yandy Diaz, who came in sporting a .326 average, .405 on base, slugging about .500, is 0 for 4 in the leadoff spot. The sweeper bounces away. Junior Caminero has lived up to his all-star billing. 2-run homer, double. It's 2 for 3. Mullins is homered. Mesa has homered. And that Palacios homer as well. Out into right. It's Raley out there now. He moved over from center. The ultimate goal of any MLB fan is seeing it all. MLB Journey to 30 sweepstakes. It's presented by T-Mobile. It's the ultimate bucket list. It's your chance to win trips to all 30 ballparks. Yes, all 30. MLB.com/journey to 30 sweeps. Aranda now. If you were to do your journey to 30, what's the favorite on the list? Now,
well, I'm still missing a couple. I've never been to Pittsburgh.
Really?
I'd never been to Miami until a couple days ago. I'm trying to think if there's any others. I'd love to go. I mean, everyone talks highly about Pittsburgh's ballpark. But you asking me my favorite ballpark?
You take T-Mobile out. Counts 1 and 2 to Aranda.
Remember playing I like pitching against the Giants. I was talking to Goldie about this the other night. You feel like you're right on top of the hitter. It's a beautiful ballpark. And it's pretty intense, too. It's a real intense feel to it. And you're the visiting team.
Liner into left. That's a base hit. You can see the mix of sand and coconut shells kicking up. No No more rubber pellets in baseball. They made the move. Baseball did it like 4 or 5 years ago to go to coconut shells instead of the rubber pellets because it's more grass-like and less bouncy.
Interesting. I had no idea. How about that?
And some sand, and this one seems to be a little heavier on the sand than most. So sorry, you were. Didn't mean to interrupt you there on the.
I was talking about coconut shells.
I mean,
I had no idea. Just learned something.
Swing and a miss. So I'll jump right in. My favorite place to call a game, and we're taking T-Mobile out of this, is Philadelphia, because the vibe,
yeah, good one,
and the buzz in that ballpark is
that's a good one.
Is unlike any other in baseball. That one fouled at the plate. The food there is really good, and again, I'm taking T-Mobile out of this.
Yeah, we went there late last year. I was in the booth with Goldie during that series, and it was at that time where it was, the playoffs were right around the corner. So you felt that, you've definitely felt a different energy, and that's why when you go visit the ballpark in, say, September, when you're in that chase, compared to, say, a May, it's much different, as you know.
Yeah, and look, some ballparks like Pittsburgh is incredibly beautiful. It's not a great place to call a game because you're so high up.
Right.
So as broadcasters, sometimes you have different tastes. 1-2 pitch, little roller up the line. So get your pick in. I've already.
Yeah. Oh, the wheels are turning. I'm trying to. Well, from a broadcast perspective, yeah. Okay, yeah. Philadelphia is a good one. From a player's perspective, I mean, old Yankee Stadium. The first time I walked in that place, we went there late. It was in 2007. The playoffs were right around the corner. It was intense, and at that point, I already had a few months in the big leagues, pretty comfortable.
Wow, look at that chop all the way to second.
But going there, it was like, man, I felt like I'd never pitched.
I feel like that's your selection.
We'll go with that.
7-2 Rays to the 9th we go. Mariners headed to the 9th, down here by 5 and in danger of dropping under 500. And 2 more games here before everybody goes to Philly for the Home Run Derby on Monday and the All-Star Game on Tuesday. 1 o'clock start back home tomorrow, and then 10:30 little morning baseball on Sunday morning. There's a roller up the middle. Canzone. Walls is there, and he throws him out. Kevin Kelly stays in there, the right-hander for the Rays. Canzone out. And you got Cal Raleigh and Josh Naylor. The last gasp here in the 9th as the Mariners are in danger of losing their 4th straight after getting swept in Miami.
That's what he does. I mean, pretty much the best at getting ground balls in the league.
Cal hits that one into center field, and that's an out. Raleigh, who hit a ball to the wall and right, and almost got out. He was 0 for 4 tonight. And here's Naylor, who's 1 for 2. Single, a walk, and a stolen base. Kelly misses outside. It's Logan Gilbert, who's 2 strikeouts away from 1,000 in his career against Griffin Jacks, a right-hander, and a pretty good one tomorrow. 1:10 start. Up the middle. That's Kelly. That's the ball game. And the Rays add to the best record in the American League. They're 55-37, having won 12 of their last 16. They are the best in baseball at home, 34-14 now. And the Mariners dip under 500 at 47-48 on a night where Junior Caminero and the rest of the Rays pop 4 home runs out of